Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's January 14th, 2026. I'm Rich Tola, and here's what's cooking for today. Number one, cell phones in the classroom. The tides are changing. Number two, I'm going to do a reading from my book, The Sub, Tales of an Inner City Teacher. And number three, we got another movie review today. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. This is a 2017 action fantasy film. But guys, I went to see this yesterday, and I'll tell you, I really like this film. Charlie Hunnam, Jude Law, and Astrid Burgess Frisbee film. But we're going to be talking about that. But first, about your ABCs, guys. What's going on? So today, right, the all-body workout, blissful sleep, and colorful diet. Well, let me tell you, I was really tired today. Didn't get the blissful sleep in last night again. But the workout, I'll tell you, I was 80% because I got to go back to finish my arms. I did 80% of the workout. Excellent. But I didn't finish. I was tired. Said, let me get out of there. And then as far as my colorful diet, excellent. Had the egg whites, the kale. I love that this morning. You guys know I love the eggs, the kale, the apple. So, get it in. Get your ABCs in. You know that. All right. Let's do this. I got a couple of shout outs today. The first is a rest in peace shout out. Guys, I don't know if you saw this, but the creator of the satirical American comic strip Dilbert, Scott Adams. He died after a battle of prostate cancer. Give a rest in peace to my father. Started with prostate, and then it moves into other areas. But you guys remember Dilbert? I read Dilbert. Dilbert was from 1989 in the newspapers. Are there any newspapers anymore? Well, from 89 to 2023. Now it's online. It's called Dilbert Reborn. But it's one of the most circulated in the United States, most circulated comic strips. Talked about the absurdities and frustrations of the modern high-tech corporate environment. And it was a good comic strip, but rest in peace to Scott Adams, who passed away. All right, how about this? Now, this actor, she is awesome, Zoe Saldana. Let me give a shout out to her. She became the highest grossing actor ever, with a combined estimated box office gross of over $15.4 billion with a B. This is 1 month after the Avatar Fire and Ash was released. Let me tell you, you know the film Colombiana? I love that movie. You guys should go take a look at that. She was awesome in that. She's been awesome forever. Zoe, hey, congrats to you. All right, here we go. Do you guys see the news? 4 in 10 teens, that's 40%, support cell phone bans in the classroom. Well, let me tell you, that surprises me. It said 41% of U.S. teens aged 13 to 17 would like to ban in middle school and high school cell phones in the classroom. Now, when it comes to banning cell phones throughout the entire day, that number goes down to less than 20%. But let me tell you, this is something I want to read to you because this is something that is very, very timely. All right. Now, you guys know this. I'm going to read you this. This is chapter. Take a look. You guys know I wrote this, The Sub, Tales of an Inner City Teacher. This is chapter 8, middle school. All right, I'm going to start you from the beginning. We're not going to go very far, but I want to read you this because this is my experience with cell phones. Now, remember, I taught during the COVID era, taught from 2017 to like 2021, 2022, over 600 days in the classroom. All right, here we go. Chapter 8, middle school. 2 words come to mind when I think of middle school: cell phones and hormones. That's why I eschewed subbing middle school and rarely did. And when I did, mostly in California, before I established myself with a bunch of high schools, the majority of my unhappy days or please help me situations have been in middle school, all originating from the hidden perils of those 2 words, which also seemed to lead to a more harmful third word, fighting. And I thought good things came in threes. Not this time. Perhaps I'm being a little overly dramatic when I say hidden pearls, but I do know this. Trying to communicate or calmly plead with an unhappy, uncooperative, irrational middle school student is like dealing with the Terminator. We're talking sixth, seventh, and eighth graders who are immaturely aged 12 to 14 years old. Of course, they know everything about everything, right? Plus, my students were raised on those oftentimes gritty and unsafe streets of their forgotten inner city neighborhoods. And to repeat those emblematic words of Michael Buffer, let's get ready to rumble. Hopefully, not rumble, but let's keep the cinematic analogies going with this iconic monologue from the tenacious, love struck Uber soldier Kyle Reese as he pleads with the unyielding Sarah Connor. Listen and understand. That Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. Well, maybe not the dead part, but the rest is 100% true. In addition to sending your best students to retrieve their long overdue classmates from the restroom because we couldn't go in, here's a list of inanimate objects that have been thrown at me or towards me, as well as other teachers I have assisted. Desks, yes, desks. Textbooks, yes, big heavy textbooks. Notebooks, pencils, erasers, paper airplanes, homework assignments, athletic balls of varying types and sizes, empty soda cans, hopefully empty, bottle caps, candy wrappers, half-eaten fruit, plus water cooler paints and paintbrushes with paint on them. All from middle school students who had a penchant for speaking to me like crapola. It's all true, guys. Or rather, like I was the trash they were throwing at me. In case you were wondering why their phones or their newly activated hormones have anything to do with their bad behavior, maybe this will help. With cell phones, every student has the unquestionable control and unlimited use of a device that's not only a major distraction and a social media time sponge, it also takes them away from the present moment, which is crucial to learning anything in school and life. Simply put, being present equals better learning. I would also surmise that when it comes to all students, cell phones on their person diverts their attention the vast majority of time, like they often do with many adults. Maybe you're one of them. And kudos to the teachers and subs who've effectively mastered the art of cell phone-less classroom, something I never did. Regardless of my failure to keep those pesky time sponges at bay, cell phones in the classroom were an especially detrimental diversion for those children needing to learn how to read and write and solve simple math problems they couldn't otherwise do. As for hormones, they create a different set of similar problems. With all this newfound sexual energy coursing through their bodies as a result of puberty, student attention spans are naturally affected. Now, add all those confusing thoughts and feelings going on inside their heads to their already less than focused focal point, and there you have it. Students who are absent from the present moment. That is to say, not learning. A long-winded way of saying puberty messes with your mind, body, and focus. That said, an even more challenging environment is created for teachers and subs when middle school students get a little touchy-feely, whether it be roughhousing in the classroom, hallways, playground, gym, or the more advanced physicality-inducing petty touching, hugging, and sitting on each other's laps. Fortunately for me, not something I experienced very often, although I definitely had to curb a student's enthusiasm on more than one occasion. By the way, when I first started subbing, it seemed that every school in Los Angeles was determined to prevent students from using their cell phones during class. In our training, we were told to prohibit cell phone use altogether without ever touching or taking them from students. Because if they were damaged or broken, we would be responsible. Certainly not something any sub wanted deducted from their paycheck. Some schools even tried those protective pouches where kids locked their phones in them each morning with a special key needed to open them. Another school had this thingamajig hanging on the wall with numbered pockets for the students to place their cell phones for the day. The thing is, nothing could stop these kids from getting to and using their phones, not even the sealed pouch with the fancy lock, because they would somehow steal the key right from under your desk and open all the locks, right under your nose. Like the time this eighth grader did his best anaconda impersonation and slithered his way across the floor until he reached my desk. There I was, quietly reading a book, as they always liked to do when there was no assignments to be monitored. And there he was, as quiet as a church mouse as he swiped the key right off my desk without me noticing. That's true. Sometime later, I realized everyone in the room was using their cell phones. How in the world was that even possible? The good news was the boy confessed to his snake like activities, and because of it, I let the entire class use their cell phones for the rest of the day. Definitely took a few years to happen along with a dreadful pandemic, but in my post COVID years, it seemed most secondary schools allowed students to carry them during class without using them, of course. The bad news was no matter how hard I tried, it was always no dice on preventing those detrimental devices from being used in my classroom. My one saving grace was to disguise my students' never ending cell phone use by reclassifying them as research devices. That's true. Meaning, I told my students they couldn't use their cell phone to make phone calls or videos, but they could use them to do research on their assignments. So they can use their research devices and not their cell phones. Semantics, I know, but it softened the blow of my obvious failure to be cell phone free. That's true. That's all true. I'll tell you. That was what I had to do. I had to come up with this sort of methodology to say, I'd hold up the phone. I'd say, listen, this is not a phone. It's a research device. Just please give me 20 minutes to teach you something. I would actually negotiate for half the class. We had these long classes. In middle school, they were a little shorter, maybe, I don't know, 75 minutes. I said, listen, give me half the class, and the second half the class, you could do the research. Well, let me tell you, I guess that's why I became the cool sub, but middle school, nah, next. All right, guys. So listen to this. Again, I went to the movies yesterday. I was going to go see Zoe and Avatar, but I got diverted again. I said, wow, I never saw this movie. I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan. You remember The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey and Charlie Hunnam? That was from 2019. Love that movie. But again, I'm a Guy Ritchie fan. He's like the British version of Quentin Tarantino, right? You guys know him. Well, here's his movie, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, premiered on May 12, 2017. Now, it says it was made for $175 million, but it only made $150 million. So I guess you could say it lost money. But let me tell you about this film. Gritty, fast-paced, street smart. It's a take on the classic myth where Arthur rises from the back alleys to claim his throne after pulling Excalibur, the sword, from the stone. It stars Charlie Hunnam, Jude Law, Astrid Burgess Frisbee, Eric Bana's in there, and Jimon Hansu. You guys know him. He's excellent. Let me tell you, this is a classic Guy Ritchie film. It's got his sort of signature blending, that modern energy, epic fantasy. But why did it get a 31% score on Rotten Tomatoes? I have no idea. The popcorn meter, I'm going to start using that. That's the audience score. They gave it a 69%, which is a lot better than 31%. But let me tell you, they're wrong because this movie's three things. It's badass, it's triumphant, and it's heartfelt. It is. Charlie's awesome. Astrid's awesome. Jude Law's awesome as the villain. I mean, to me, this movie has one of the most attractive casts that you're ever going to see in a movie. They're beautiful. I mean, excellent cast, excellent CGI, excellent score. I mean, let me tell you, and talk about the scenery. It was filmed throughout the UK and Scotland. Gorgeous scenery. So I don't know. I don't know if it's in your neighborhood. It was in my neighborhood in the movies. So I said, let me go. It was nominated 10 times, but it didn't win anything. And how about this? It finished second place for worst film of the year at the St. Louis Film Critics Association. Yeah, what do they know? What's going on in St. Louis? Yeah, my best friend's in St. Louis. I don't know what's going on over there, but all wrong. And here's one little trivia for you. Henry Cavill, loved him as Superman in all his films. And Idris Elba, those guys were considered for roles, but were not, chosen. Anyway, I love the cast. Let me tell you, this is a 2-hour film that feels like 1 hour. Well, anyway, even though it's not a new film, it's not one of these 2026 jobbers, I'm giving this an A-. mean, I love this film. Again, this is an A film all the way. So if you could see it, I'd go see that. I'd go see Colombiana if you want to see her. But guys, got to go out there and, like I said, love movies. And this is a good one. I'll tell you, I'm glad I did it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Have yourself an awesome Wednesday. And as always, get your workout in. Peace.